You know, things like black magic, curses, witchcraft, they're the kind of things that give most of us the creeps, right? Whether you actually believe in them or not, you can be the most rational, scientific person in the world, but sometimes situations pop up that make it really, really hard to deny that there's a whole other world out there, one we can't see, but you can definitely feel it.
So, knowing the potential dangers, who in their right mind would actually go up to a witch and ask them to put a curse on them, just to see what happens? It sounds completely insane, doesn't it? Well, someone actually did it.
Let me introduce you to Liam. He's a filmmaker who decided to make a documentary by becoming the main subject himself. And his goal wasn't just to observe the world of black magic from a distance. Oh no. He wanted to personally experience its power by getting deliberately cursed. This is the story of his experiment and why he's now known as the Cursed Man. So Liam's whole experiment kicks off in California. He approaches a coven, a group of witches, and tells them what he wants. I want you to put a curse on me. And they refused, like immediately. They warned him, saying it was an incredibly dangerous idea, that the spirit they'd attached to him would follow him for the rest of his life. But Liam, he just didn't buy it. He was determined to see this through. So he set off on this global quest for a curse. First stop, New Orleans, a city that's legendary for voodoo and hoodoo. From there, he flew all the way to a village called Mayong in India, a place that's literally famous for black magic. And finally, his journey took him to Mexico, where his little experiment would take its darkest turn yet. In New Orleans, after getting angrily turned away by a voodoo priest, Liam eventually found a hoodoo practitioner named Elias. So Liam makes his very strange request. Please, put a curse on me. And to his total surprise, Elias actually agreed. Okay, so Elias brings Liam into his reading room and starts the ritual. This is where it gets really creepy. He takes a nail that was pulled from an actual coffin and a single strand of hair from Liam's head and wraps the hair tightly around the nail. He told Liam this curse would delay all of his goals, all of his successes. Then he started chanting loudly, calling on his ancestors, and sealed the nail inside a black cloth amulet with something called doom oil, which, by the way, is an oil used in necromancy specifically to destroy an enemy. And as Elias finished, he gave Liam this chillingly specific warning. He said the curse would bring sickness and confusion for sure, but that the physical destruction would start in one particular place. He looked at him and said, "This curse will first destroy your legs." But Liam, he still wasn't convinced. The first curse didn't have any immediate effects, and his trip to India to see a tantric practitioner didn't really lead to anything tangible. So he decided to push it, to go even further. He traveled to Mexico and met a shaman named Hermanos Juan. Now, Juan wasn't just any shaman. He called himself a black priest, a worshiper of Satan. And he told Liam that if he wanted a real curse, he'd have to ask Satan for it himself. Now, what's really fascinating and frankly terrifying is how formal this whole thing was. Juan led Liam into this underground ritual with his cult. A chicken was sacrificed, its blood offered to this horrifying statue of Satan. One by one, all the cult members bowed. And then it was Liam's turn. He actually knelt down and formally asked to be cursed. The whole thing ended with Liam sealing the pact with his own blood. So now he's walking around with not one, but two powerful curses on him. Liam returns to California, and pretty soon the effects of the curses really start to ramp up. At first, it was all mental, but Liam was about to find out that the line between a psychological problem and a physical attack was about to get broken, and broken violently. The nightmares became horrific. I'm talking bloody, sinister visions that got so disturbing, he actually started seeing a psychologist. But you know what? He could handle that. What he wasn't ready for was a physical attack. One day, he went mountain biking to try and de-stress, something he'd done for years. But this time was different. While he was riding on a mountain trail, he was suddenly and just violently thrown from his bike. It wasn't just a fall, though. Liam felt it. He was absolutely certain an invisible force had pushed him. And the crash was brutal. He suffered a major injury to his knees, so bad he needed stitches, and was stuck in bed for weeks, completely unable to walk. Terrified and paranoid, Liam starts rewatching all the footage he shot for his documentary. And this is the exact moment his skepticism just shatters into a million pieces. As he's watching the recording from New Orleans, he hears Elias's words echo back at him through the screen. "This curse will first destroy your legs." The physical destruction had begun, exactly as he'd been told it would. So, this is the crucial point. He's no longer a filmmaker studying a phenomenon, he's a terrified man who is desperate for a way out. He didn't care anymore if the curses were real or just some twisted coincidence, he just wanted the suffering to stop. So he went back to the very first coven in California, the same witches who had warned him from the beginning, and he begged them for help. The witches agreed to perform one last ritual to try and save him. First, they summoned spirits, white, black, gray, red, calling on all forces they could to heal him. They broke the cursed amulet from New Orleans. Then, for the final act, they told him to stand in front of a mirror and just scream as loud as he possibly could. This act was meant to spiritually sever the pact that he had made with Satan. Liam's story is just this fascinating, terrifying journey from total skepticism to absolute belief, all forced by his own reckless experiment. And it leaves all of us with a really difficult question. Look, you can choose not to believe in these forces, but after hearing a story like this, you have to wonder, is publicly denying them a risk you're really willing to take?